Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix. Joining me right now is Jennifer Alvarado. Hey, Jennifer, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. So, how did you get your start in music? And kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh goodness. So I got my start in music at a really young age. I loved music. I grew up on pretty much everything. It seems like every adult in my family had a different style that they liked, and so I kind of heard all of it. But I started with writing songs, just writing songs on my own, and then probably at the age of 6, 7, I started doing chorus, singing in choirs, and just fell in love with singing. And then my papa actually, he played different instruments. He played guitar and mandolin, banjo, all of that stuff. And so when I was at his house, I was constantly around that, and he would teach me guitar chords. But it wasn't until I was probably about 12 or 13 that I really started playing instruments and kind of putting everything together. And I did that because I wanted to be able to write better. So, so yeah, from a really young age.
Hmm. And what is one thing that you most enjoy about music?
For me, it's just being able to express yourself in a way that otherwise you may not have the words for, you may not have the understanding for. Music has always been my therapy. Songwriting, especially, was how I I dealt with a lot of not necessarily full out bullying when I was younger, but just there was a lot of things going on, and that was my way of expressing things that otherwise I don't think I would have been able to, with actually being able to sit down and put into words what I was feeling instead of just bottling it up.
Hmm. And do you have a singer you look up to, Jennifer? And if so, why do you look up to them?
Probably the most that I look up to would be Reba McEntire. I started following her when I was probably 6 years old, something
Oh,
somewhere around
wow.
there. Yeah, and then just I started going to Reba concerts when I was probably about 10, and absolutely adored her. Thought she was a fantastic businesswoman, entertainer, all of those things. So probably out of everybody, that's who I would say has had the most impact on me.
Hmm. And do you have any new singles or any upcoming projects that we can look forward to, Jennifer?
Yes, actually, I just released my latest single, "Filthy Water," on the 17th of September, and I'm working on a project right now. It's another EP. It's going to be a country EP, but um, I haven't fully figured out the title or anything yet. I have an idea, but it's really just about, because everything on the album kind of deals with the same um, concept and stuff, and so it's just been a very challenging couple of years. And so this was really my EP of just getting over some stuff and working it out. So that's what that one's going to be about.
And what does a typical day look like for you?
Every day is different, honestly. So I try to make time for writing. That doesn't always happen. I'm also a minister of music at a church nearby. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so that plays into a lot of things
Hmm.
too. I also do guitar lessons for a couple kids. So um, each day is a little bit different, but typically I get up, I work through some things, try to write. I may go to the studio that day and do vocals or something like that. Um, and then get to a lesson, go to choir practice, and usually I'm up pretty late. So
What would you be doing right now, do you think, if it wasn't for music?
so I was a paralegal before I went into ministry. So I went into full time ministry after I was a
Mhm.
paralegal, which brought me back to music. So I'm somewhere between, if music was not part of my life whatsoever, I would probably still be doing law of some sort. Um, but with that said, I was going to go to divinity school and actually possibly become a minister. So I'm between those two things.
Mm-hmm. And where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh gosh. So 5 to 10 years.
Hard one.
Yeah, well, it's hard because I'll be honest. So,
Right.
like,
Mm-hmm.
I've had like a 5 to 10 year plan since I was probably 6 years old. And so I think as you get older, you realize like you
Mm-hmm.
to try to be in the moment, because I usually am not in the moment. I'm like 5 years down the road, and so I miss the moment. So
Mm-hmm.
I've really tried to become aware of that and keep myself in the moment. But I mean, obviously, there's things that you want, that you have as far as goals.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years from now, I would love to be probably doing this at a bigger scale than I am now. And I just mean from the standpoint of I would really currently I'm trying to work on getting a publishing deal for songwriting, and so that's really part of where my heart is. I want to work toward that. The other thing is just being able to do this on a bigger scale as far as um, so ministry, recovery ministry is a huge part of my life and very important to me. So to be able to speak to more people about that along with doing the music and have that connection would be huge, and I want that to still be part of my life. The other thing too is I am married, so
Mm-hmm.
at some point we need to think about kids. So probably somewhere in that, hopefully we have a child.
Yeah, and a child is a lot, so
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I'm glad you're thinking about that.
yeah.
In the way
Eventually,
it
yeah,
does. Yeah. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
yeah, eventually.
Yeah. Hmm. If you could go open a show for any artist, who would you choose and why?
There's so many that I would love to work with and collab with. I'm still going to go back to Reba, and the reason I say that is she has been such a huge influence on my music, on just what I look at music as and how I want to. I think the biggest thing with Reba is she seems genuine, and she seems to have a genuine connection with her fans.
Hmm.
And so that's what I want, is to be able to, be able to speak to people in such a way that they feel like they have a friend
Hmm.
and that they know me. Um, so I still probably say Reba would be the one I would want to be able to open for, at least at some point, and just,
Hmm.
or be able to share a song or anything like that.
Hmm. And what do you like to do in your free time outside of music?
Oh goodness. Well, I volunteer for a 12-step group. Um, and so recovery ministry is what I usually do in my free time. My husband and I used to run a lot. So I missed that when we had time and we were actually in town and could get to the run groups and all that. I missed that tremendously. The other thing is I love animals. So anything with animals would be probably something that I would enjoy doing.
Hmm. And also, I know you wanted to play a song for us. Kind of tell us what you want to play and a background of the song.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to do a song called Run Girl Run. And it's sort of like a sister song to the song that's out right now, Filthy Water. But we're currently working on this, and it'll be on the upcoming EP whenever that gets finished.
Hmm.
Um, the background on it is basically if you've ever been in just sort of an abusive relationship or um, just a toxic relationship in general, and you realize after the fact so many things that you should have seen the red flags going and the
Hmm.
signs all over the place, but you choose to ignore them. And so this is really looking back at that and trying to talk to either the new girl that's in the picture or yourself saying, get out of here, and don't look back. So that's what that's about. took my heart and broke it into pieces. Then he used the shards to cut me even deeper. Did I ever mean anything, or was it just something that he said? Run, go, run, don't ever look back. It might seem fun, but it won't last. His talk is smooth when he gets done. Lose yourself, so run, go, run. Run, go, run. He'll tell you what you wanna hear, then claim he never said it. And if you ever cry a tear, you'll live to regret it. 'Cause you'll never mean anything to someone who can't feel a single thing. And run, go, run, don't ever look back. It might seem fun, but it won't last. His talk is smooth when he gets done. Lose yourself, run, go, run. Run, go, run. Run, go, run. Never look back. You think it's love, but it won't last. It's all too deep. The damage is done, so save yourself and run, go, run. Run, go, run. And run, go, run. Never look back. Might seem fun, but it won't last. His talk is smooth when he gets done. Lose yourself. Run, go, run. Don't ever look back. Might seem fun, but it won't last. His talk is smooth when he gets done. You've lost yourself, so run, go, run. Run, go, run. Before the damage is done, you better run, go, run, 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 run.
That was an amazing song, by the way.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. And also I appreciate Jennifer Alvarado for joining us. But before we go, what is one message that you'd like to give your fans or anyone listening?
Okay, so for so long I let anxiety and just feeling like I wasn't enough stand in the way of doing music and really putting myself out there. So my biggest thing for anyone listening, if you've got a passion for something, whether it's music or anything, do it. Don't let somebody tell you otherwise, and don't let somebody just breed those doubts into you. Instead, go with it, because especially if God's put that on your heart to do, he'll make a way for you. So just go do it.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that I forgot that you'd like to share with us today, Jennifer?
I think that's it. Thank you so much for having me on as a guest. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Once again, I'd like to thank Jennifer for joining us right here on the Kayden Gordon Show, today's Best Country Mix. We truly appreciate your time to talk to us today, Jennifer.
Thank you.